Lamar Jackson given the non-exclusive franchise tag. What does that mean? The Ravens are going to pay him just north of $32 million. But more importantly, any team can come in, offer 2 first-round picks to the Baltimore Ravens, and offer Lamar Jackson a price that Lamar Jackson wants. Any team essentially can negotiate to take Lamar Jackson off of the Ravens' hands, and the Ravens have the opportunity to match. This is a huge, and I mean huge deal, Lamar Jackson getting the non-exclusive franchise tag. But let me tell you what other people won't.
Okay.
This is a win-win, Lamar getting the non-exclusive tag. This is the best case scenario for all parties. Why? Because in order to ensure that Lamar Jackson does not get underpaid, he needs to poll the market and see who's willing to pay him the most money. In order to ensure that the Ravens do not overpay Lamar Jackson, they need to poll the market to make sure they are not going to pay Lamar Jackson any more money than anybody else was going to pay him. So Lamar Jackson can maximize his earning potential by being non-exclusively tagged, and the Ravens, they can minimize their earning spending by making sure Lamar Jackson is non-exclusively tagged. Let me give it to y'all like this. If you want to increase price, then you got to increase demand. It's very simple. Y'all know this from your marketing classes. Y'all know this from your econ classes. If you want to increase price, you have to increase demand. Well, the only way to increase demand is to increase the teams that are bargaining for you. Now, in theory, all 31 teams could have the opportunity to bid on Lamar Jackson. 31 bidders increases demand, increases money. But if you want to accurately poll how much something is worth, you got to survey the landscape of the market. Now the Ravens have the opportunity to survey how much are all 31 teams willing to pay Lamar Jackson. This could not be a more perfect situation for both Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar will get as much money as anybody is willing to pay him, and the Ravens will pay no more money than anybody who is willing to pay him. I love it, but Shady, you've been paid a lot of money in your NFL career. Highest paid running back for a couple years. Couple of them. That's why you got the watch. Shady, what is your reaction to the Ravens using the non-exclusive franchise tag?
I'm kind of surprised. I really am. I knew that it would be a tough negotiations. Obviously, it's going on 2 years, but they're gambling here, right? And listen, I love to gamble. You know that. But some things you don't gamble against. And blackjack, when a dealer has an 8 showing and I got a 6, I don't double down.
Not at all.
And I feel like they're doing that. So let me get this straight. All right, because I've been in the league for a little bit. Let me get it straight. So with the non-exclusive franchise tag, right? So he could bid with any team to get a contract.
Yes, sir.
Right? And let's say it's $200 million guaranteed. The Ravens have to match that.
Yes,
or they let him walk and they get 2 first-round picks.
Yes, sir, that's it.
I hate that move. Because my thing is, like, you have a winner. Lamar Jackson's like 46-17 as a winner with the Ravens.
Yes, sir.
And without him at quarterback, you lose games. That's just proven. That's not my opinion. That's what happens.
That's facts.
Okay, so now you could potentially lose him, and you think you're being smart by, okay, Lamar, you think you're worth $200 million contract, guaranteed, go out there and find one, and we'll see what happens.
That's it.
Now, either it's like, go out there, find one, and then we'll match that, and they don't have to do negotiations because it's been tough for them for some reason. Or you like, well, you know what, hey, man, if somebody going to pay you that much money, I'm cool with the results. And if you walk, we'll get the first-round picks. I don't like that because now you're not really competing or contending for a championship. You're not contending for an AFC championship. You might not even win your division. So I don't like the move. Anybody would love to have Lamar Jackson. I talked about the Falcons being one of the main options, and I've seen a report that they're not one of the teams, but I've seen that before. Because the Browns said the same thing about Deshaun Watson. Right. Oh, we're not going to pursue him. And what did they do? They gave him the most guaranteed of history.
Million later.
So I don't know, man. I don't like this move. Ravens, you must know something I don't know.
They must, or they will find out either way. Slick, where you at?
Do I get econ credit, 101 credit for that opener? Having heard that, I feel like I got a lecture on that. That was very good. You guys are looking at the money aspect of it.
Pay me the money, Slick.
I'm looking at the relationship. I'm going to look at the relationship.
That's fair.
And the relationship, to me, it was clear. Like, yeah, you guys have been in a relationship, and it's like, I'll call you.
Right.
And then, you see, hey, we got to get together. I'll call you. But the call never comes. The call never came for the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson. This is my not surprised face when it comes to where we are right now.
Fair.
I felt as if I saw this coming because they weren't committed to him. And if you're Lamar Jackson and you're a league MVP, you got to feel some kind of way that you did that for this team, and they are not committed to you. So I'm actually just thankful that we got to this, because it's not going to be dragged out. We're going to find out exactly who wants Lamar Jackson, and I would fully expect that that's where he's going to end up. And then we'll see who actually won this battle between the two, that they decided to have a divorce. Who's going to end up with the kids? Because that's where I see it going.
Joy, what's your reaction to all of this?
I think they're saying that they don't really want him that much. If you did, you wouldn't put this tag on him, and he would have figured out a deal. So they don't want him that much, because if you're opening him up to the market, then you're saying we're willing to part with him in one way or another. They are. My question is, couldn't you have negotiated a trade to get more than 2 first-round picks? Doesn't that feel a little light?
Deshaun got 3.
That feels a little light for Lamar Jackson.
I got a thought.
Agreed.
Keep going.
So
though.
if you were gonna put him out to the market, and the exchange was, okay, we might not match this, but we'll get 2 first-round picks, aren't you negotiating against yourself in that space?
Right.
Because I believe you could get 3 first-round picks for Lamar Jackson. I feel like that's a reasonable ask from somebody who's getting a franchise quarterback.
Right.
Trey Lance
MVP.
costs three first picks, three picks, right? There's a lot of trades that have what did they give up for Russell Wilson? Lamar Jackson played better than Russell Wilson last year. So that part confuses me. You're kind of negotiating against yourself in that space. But I think overall, I agree with Rick. This is a relationship thing at this point. Lamar Jackson has been the face of the organization. Lamar Jackson is the one that sells the jerseys. He's the one that gets people in the seats. Sometimes you lean a little bit too much on your logo and not enough on the name on the back of the jersey. And I think that's what's happening here. So they're playing a real interesting game. If I'm Lamar Jackson, I personally would feel a little something about it. I'll feel a little something inside about it. So we'll see how this goes.
Shady, you bought a home? Couple of them. Bought homes? Great. If you've ever bought a home, you usually have to go through this process. Shady, I know we've talked about real estate off camera. I know you all at home either bought homes, maybe your parents have, et cetera. So let's talk this through. Go ahead, Slick.
Is this Econ 202 now?
202.
Okay.
We just did 101. We at 202. Okay. Shady, I went to buy a home one time, and I won't say the price because it's unnecessary, but I went to buy a home, and they were asking for way too much money. Way too much money. I was like, yo, your house is not worth this much.
Right.
They were like, well, actually it is. I said, it's not worth, I went to see it first. I saw it, it popped up on Zillow, it popped up on Trulia. I went to see it on Thursday. I said, it's not worth this much. They said, it is. I said, you know what, do this. Go through the weekend. Show it on Saturday, show it on Friday, show it on Sunday.
Okay. You pulling that card, that bluff card.
And let me know how much you get offered on Monday. And I'll come back in on Monday and I will match it. Now, I won't even match it. I'll beat it by 25K. So you go, test the market. And if you get what you think you're worth, bet I'll come in and match it.
Okay.
So win-win. Because if you all are actually worth, if this home is worth as much as you think it is, you'll get an offer. And if it's not, you won't, but I'm still going to come back and buy it. But the only way to make sure I pay fair market value is for you to test the market. And the only way for you, home seller, to make sure that you get as much as you're worth is if you test the market. I think that's what's occurring
So what
right
happened?
here.
What happens if you have a budget, though? Real quick. What happens if you have a budget, though? Wait. What if you have a budget, though, that you don't want to surpass?
Okay.
Then what?
Then I'm stuck.
Because I feel like the Ravens have a budget where they don't want to go over that budget.
Here's what's interesting about what Joy said, though. I don't actually think, Joy, that the Ravens want Lamar to walk, because I think you're exactly right. Ravens could get more than 2 first-round picks if they traded Lamar, I think. I don't know. I ain't a GM. I'm not going to act like it. But I think. But I think the Ravens truly are just like, hey, you think we want you, you want us. But the discrepancy here is, how much are you worth? So you go find out how much you're worth, and we will match it. I know this has happened to athletes
that can
before.
happen, yeah.
Not Lamar Jackson types, but quite literally, it happened to my brother during the contract negotiation, and they were like, yo, we like you, but we don't like you as much as you think you like you, so you go get an offer, and we'll match it. Now, we're talking about $200 million to not $200 million, but I've seen it before.
Right. But you said something very specific in there. Lamar Jackson type. What is a Lamar Jackson type? A league MVP. Wins 70% of his regular season games. Is a face of the league. A franchise quarterback in every sense of the word. So this means something that they're negotiating with him this way.
Yeah.
We've seen guys go through franchise tag negotiations. Oh, if they tagged him, oh, nothing. They're going to get a deal done. This is just a placeholder. The clock was up. whatever. We don't even mention it because it means nothing. This means something.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar Jackson types don't get non-exclusive franchise tags.
They don't. But here's the conversation let's get real, okay? Let's get real. My coach told me this, Shady. Maybe you've heard this before as well. The greatest cure is not necessarily like an antibiotic. The greatest cure isn't necessarily sleep. It's not rest, not vitamins. The greatest cure is money in sports. Money cures everything. Kyler Murray was real upset last year with the Arizona Cardinals. He was upset, y'all. Took everything down on social media. He was upset. Aaron Rodgers is still to a degree disgruntled, but he was more disgruntled with the Green Bay Packers. Dak Prescott, he didn't verbalize his frustration. Zeke, he was real upset. He was in Cabo during camp upset. What happened? Zeke got paid. Kyler got paid. Rodgers got paid. Dak got paid. Shady, you know, because you've been paid this kind of money. I never have in sports. You've been paid this kind of money. From what I know about athletes, at least in football, that money gonna cure a lot. He gonna cure a lot.
Yeah, I mean, if they can reach a contract, right, he'll be happy. It always happens like that. Guys are upset. They don't get paid. They don't show up to camp. They're mad. And then they get paid, and everybody's smiling, or they run out there for practice. But I'm not sure they'll get a deal done. And I hear what you're saying, that maybe they won't do the negotiation. Listen, if you think you're better than we think, or if we can't get a contract done for you, then go out there and get your own contract, and then we'll match it. But what happens in this league with quarterbacks? That's why we have so many first-round busts, because when the quarterback comes along, everybody gets desperate. Think about it. Bad first-rounders get picked because we need a quarterback. The Niners, they trade up 3 first-round picks for Trey Lance because we need a quarterback. Zach Wilson, we need a quarterback. So what happens all the time? So what happens when a team like the Falcons or the Panthers, we going to give up everything we got to get Lamar Jackson. Then what the Ravens going to do? They're not going to match that deal.
They probably won't.
Come on, man. Stop playing with that guy and give him his money, please.
Yeah, here's the distinction, again, and I have to go back to the relationship. Like, Dak Prescott got his money. Kyler Murray got his money. But he got his money. He didn't have to go through what Lamar Jackson is having to go through to get his money. Lamar Jackson is having to get his money by someone else holding the Baltimore Ravens hostage in order for him to get his money. So I can't help but feel like Lamar is going to feel some kind of way about that. And if the Ravens don't know that, if they believe that he's going to get paid less than what he was asking for from the Baltimore Ravens, and then they're going to match, and he's going to come back and he's going to be perfectly happy with that based on everything that he's done for the Ravens, no, that shoots a hole in his asking price from the Ravens. He thought he was worth a certain amount. And even if the market says it's not, like with the house, the house doesn't have feelings.
That part.
The owner
Correct.
doesn't have feelings about the house. If it ends up, it's not what they thought it was worth. Lamar Jackson is going to feel like, I don't care that the rest of the league didn't give it to me. You should have given it to me for what I did for you already.
The greatest argument to be had here, and is a phenomenal argument, Joy and Slick have made it, Slick, you just enunciated it perfectly, is an argument of feelings. But if you know the National Football League or have played in the National Football League, you then unfortunately know it more than most. They don't care about your feelings, regardless of what position you play and regardless of who you are. Whether you were Peyton Manning with the Colts, whether you were Russell Wilson with the Seahawks, whether you were Emmitt Smith with the Cowboys, whether you were Aaron Rodgers with the Packers, like they don't. Whether you're LeSean McCoy with the Eagles, like they don't care about your feelings. I know we do. We're kind people sitting in beautiful dresses and suits and all these things on set. They don't care about your feelings. So I just don't know that they can operate like that.
Sometimes they don't. The Packers cared about Aaron Rodgers' feelings.
We'll find out.
No. They did. They might not now. They got worn out.
Right.
But they did care about his feelings.
They paid to take care of his feelings.
I think they cared more about their chances of winning
But
than I even think his
him
feelings.
being there was
Correct.
tied to their chances of winning, and his feelings were hurt. So he used
But here's
his
what's
feelings
fascinating,
to
though.
leverage that contract.
But remember, they didn't always, because what is really the crux?
I mean, they did draft the first-round quarterback.
What's the crux of the Aaron Rodgers
I'm
dilemma?
not saying that it's not more. It's more of the rule that they don't.
Yes.
But I'm saying there are definitely situations where someone's ego or feelings or whatever, or a situation can influence a contract. And if this goes badly, it could absolutely play against the Ravens that they did this to Lamar.
This is where I'm going to test your theory. Let's say he gets more than Deshaun Watson got. Okay? Guaranteed. Are the Ravens going to match that?
No. I don't think they would. And I think at that point in time, like we all have had to say at some point in time, I'm happy for you because I wasn't going to give you that.
Right.
So go on, be happy with somebody else.
And who's going to play quarterback for the Ravens?
I don't know, but they'll have $230 million more to figure it out in their mind.
Is there a $230 million quarterback store that we forgot to go? Is it Rodeo?
On Rodeo, they might. They might on Rodeo.
It ain't that easy to find Lamar Jackson.
You look hard enough on Rodeo, you might find one. Well, we were just talking about Aaron Rodgers, and there has been a ton of drama around Aaron Rodgers, particularly in the last 2 hours.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.